Welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus here on this Friday and almost end of the month here. And it's a cold one out there. I'm Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki, along with our Ag Director Bridgette Readel and our wonderful and talented producer, Addison.
You give me too much credit.
Well,
I'm wondering why he's sucking up so bad. What did he do that it's going to make you mad, Addison?
Well, we were talking before on the commercial that, you know, our voiceover guy, why doesn't he include Addison? He just includes me and Bridgette. Why doesn't he have Addison's name in on this wonderful show?
I think on the contact thing that comes up on the streams every now and then, which there it is for anyone who'd like to call into the show, how come my email doesn't get put out? What if someone wants to email me just to talk, ask how my day's going?
Would you like to add that? Would you really like to add that?
We've got a couple loyal listeners. Sometimes people do just call in just to talk to me, so why not throw my email on there too?
See?
Well, it's true, because you are that great and charming.
You know, Mom's gonna be so proud when I tell her that.
Mom's gonna be so. Oh man, you can tell it's Friday around here, can't you? No doubt. Oh boy. Well, it is a cold one out there, and here's the good news. This is the coldest we're going to see for about a week, at least, if not a little longer, as we do have some warmer weather coming into the area. But in exchange with that warmer weather, typically we'll get some precip with it, and that's exactly what we got coming around the corner. We do have some snow that is back in the forecast. So we're looking at clear skies for the rest of the day today. It's going to be a cold one, though. Wall-to-wall sunshine, at least, and light winds, and highs today only between 0 and 5 above. That's it. And then tonight we'll have clear skies bottoming out close to 10 below, then steady to slowly rising temperatures towards morning with winds out of the south-southeast at about 5 to 15. And then Saturday we'll start off with sunshine, but then we'll see clouds increase throughout the day. And we'll see light snow overspread from west to east. It should arrive in the valley by late afternoon or early evening and then spread eastward. And we'll continue with that light snow through Saturday night. We'll have highs on Saturday in the low to mid-20s. And on Sunday, that snow ends in the morning, about 1 to 2 inches. There could be some pockets of 3 inches, but I think a general 1 and 2 up and down the valley into Lakes Country. And then the winds ramp up a little bit on Sunday afternoon. We'll have falling temperatures from the 20s into the teens. And unfortunately, we're probably going to see a little bit of blowing snow issue with 1 to 2 inches on the ground. So be aware of that if you have any travel plans Saturday night or especially Sunday afternoon with the blowing snow. But the good news is next week we do warm up. Another clipper system on Tuesday, an inch or less out of that. That doesn't look too important with temperatures in the 20s. And by next Thursday, we are above freezing for the first time in a while with temperatures reaching the low to mid-30s. And this weather this hour has been brought to you by Progressive Ag Risk Management Specialists. So, Bridgette, we're going to trade the cold for the slightly warmer weather. But with that, we are looking at some snow along with it. No big storms in our area, but, you know, these little nuisance snows, a lot of people take them for granted, and you got to be careful on the roadways, especially when you get that blowing snow issue. And that could be a problem Sunday afternoon. But, again, we're still sticking by what the LRC is forecasting for this month, or for the month of February, and that is stormier than normal conditions. That doesn't mean we'll get hit by every storm, but we do see stormier conditions and more snowfall compared to January. So if you're a snow lover, that's good news. If you're not, sorry, at least we got some warmer weather.
Well, a little bit of a fun fact for those who've been watching this weather, and we realize we're going to get a little bit more snow that will be insulating. But up on Devil's Lake today, 27 inches of ice so far.
Beautiful.
So, agronomy on ice next week looks like it's going to be great. I'm very excited about that. For those who are coming up next Wednesday, I will see you there at Devil's Lake, right off of Woodland Resort, on Wednesday, February 4th, for Agronomy on Ice. It'll be a great day.
Fantastic. Well, we've got a couple of callers. We've got Mark on line 1. Mark, what's going on, man?
I'm just checking in to see how Addison is doing.
I'm so included in the show now.
Well, Addison, pipe up, buddy.
I'm doing very well. I got a new hair. I got a new haircut. I got new shoes. Stuff's going well.
And he donated his hair, didn't you?
And I donated my hair, which means I got a free haircut.
Yeah.
And you recently got a new car. I mean, my God, you're practically a new man.
I know it's been, a new year. new me.
Ladies, new haircut, new car. He's going places.
I haven't even made the car dirty yet. It's still, I haven't filled it with junk yet. There's still nothing in the
man.
trunk of the car, which is weird.
Oh, the new car smell. Oh, the new car smell.
fun.
How exciting.
Mark, thanks for checking on Addison.
All right. Talk to you later.
Have a good one. See, all you have to do is ask. Our listeners are the best.
Now,
Speaking about asking, I have a quick question to ask real quick. Can I further derail WAG by asking you to take a step to the right real quick? I just really wanted to put these bunnies up on the stream. There's some bunny rabbits outside out there on the snow. They're huddled against that big snow hill out there to the left, Dean. That's it. I just wanted to further
Are you sure those are
WAG.
bunnies?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yep.
Okay.
For those who are watching on the Lighthouse Commodities live stream, yes, live action wildlife going on today at the Weather and Ag in Focus studio at WDAY, and you can watch them. I know some. In fact, I've had 2 text messages that people are indeed watching the live stream today. Again, thanks to Lighthouse Commodities. They bring that for us on Facebook, YouTube, and Acres TV. Our first caller, Mark, he was kind enough to give us a call on the JLA Insurance phone line, which we greatly appreciate. That number is 701-293-9000. For those of you who are curious about, what's happening when it comes to your crop insurance changes, you're going to want to talk to Nate very quickly. That March 16th date is coming fast. And also, those inboxes, those email inboxes that Addison mentioned, powered by Superior Grain Equipment, you can reach Dean, weather@flagfamily.com, and I am ag@flagfamily.com. So happy to see that all going on. Oh, hold on. I've got to go respond to a message from one of our guests that's up and coming. So see ya, Dean. I don't know what you want to do next. Maybe you want to give away a Vegas trip.
Well, we do have the name in Slack. So today's qualifier is Joran Flack. Joran Flack of Fargo.
No, Dean. No? Dean, that was yesterday.
Oh shoot, that was yesterday. I am sorry.
That was yesterday.
Yeah. Sorry. Did Joran call in yesterday or no?
He did not. He missed the buzzer. So
right. Sorry, Joran. Today's is John Swift. John Swift of Fargo. John, you've got 11 minutes to call 701-293-9000. Again, that's 701-293-9000 to qualify for our Valentine's Day Vegas trip giveaway. It includes airfare, $500 spending cash, and tickets to the Wizard of Oz. Now, Jay Thomas from the Jay Thomas Show went to see this, and he said it was just absolutely incredible. So it's a great giveaway, and then we are going to be announcing who the winner is as we head into next week. We're going to be at Kingpins. That is on, Addison, the 2nd or 3rd. I don't have my notes with me. I'm sorry.
That's on Tuesday. It's on Tuesday
yeah.
the 3rd.
Tuesday
but
the 3rd.
Additionally, there's a qualifying stop on Monday. And so if you have not yet gone to our website to put your name in the hat, so to speak, so that you can be qualified when we call your name during one of our shows, you can do that on Monday. You can stop by Fix It Forward Auto Care's newest location on South University. You'll want to be there between 3 and 5:30 on Monday, February 2nd. Again, our grand prize giveaway will be on Tuesday, February 3rd at Kingpins. Now, if you go to Fix It Forward Auto Care, your chance to qualify for that trip means you can also register to win a Fix It Forward Auto Care $250 gift card, Fargo Force tickets, Sweet Shots gift card, and possibly oil changes at Fix It Forward. There is a lot happening.
Wow.
So that is during the Jay Thomas Show. I believe Bonnie Amistadi will be there, and you're going to want to stop by Fix It Forward Auto Care's newest location on South University. That will be on Monday between 3 and 5:30. It's February 2nd. And things are moving along quickly for that giveaway.
It's coming up. That's a great trip, too. I mean, the airfare and the spending cash and tickets to the show, that's fantastic. Fantastic.
Well, we hope that our qualifier, John Swift of Fargo, is able to reach us. You have now probably about 9 minutes, maybe a little bit less, to reach us here at the Weather and Ag in Focus show on WDAY, and you're going to call us on the JLA insurance phone line of 701-293-9000. Now, additionally, we've got lots more coming up today. We're going to have Market Uncovered with Gregg Hanson with Hanson Agri Commodities. We'll be doing that after the livestock report from the American Ag Network. And then at the bottom of the hour, after our news, we'll be joined by North Dakota's Ag Commissioner Doug Goehring. We are gearing up for the United States 250th birthday. And so every month, Commissioner Goehring is going to be joining us so we can talk about the history agriculturally in the state of North Dakota. I think there's going to be a lot of good things going on there. So hang tight. After the market report, we're going to talk commodities with Gregg Hanson, and I have a listener question just for him. And it's not Today is our day for Market Uncovered with Gregg Hanson. And you know what? If you want to protect not only yourself in the markets, but your online activity, you got to make sure that you also talk to Chris Sherman. He is with Tech Support Farm. They do that fence check assessment over there that's online to find out if you have any potential danger of being hacked, if your passwords aren't strong enough, and so much more. Check them out, techsupport.farm. Meanwhile, it's Market Uncovered with Gregg Hanson of Hanson Agri Commodities. So, hey, Gregg, before I ask my listener question, how's the traffic flow at the Sioux Falls Farm Show today?
Well, today it's third day, so it's always a little slower on the third day. Yesterday's flow was actually pretty darn good. Not a lot of guys want to stop and talk, but there's a few that are. I've had a couple guys say, I got to do something with my marketing. How can you help me out? And I let them know what we do. But no, you can't complain about weather. Usually it seems like, you get a winter show, you got one day where it's snowing or icy or, below zero wind chills. And today isn't too bad. So the traffic flow's been pretty good.
Today's a good day to come on inside for a little while. So
Yes.
here's an email that came in through my Superior Grain Equipment email inbox. And this listener says, with the new push for E85 by the administration, I was thinking in the long term it may have a reverse effect due to supply and demand on corn sales. So being that many vehicle owners may not want the higher percentage of ethanol in E85, just thinking the future corn prices will again find themselves very low. So one of the comments I made back to that listener is the fact that vehicle owners are typically just worried about the price at the pump, not necessarily what they're putting in. What do you think about the effect on corn market right now, Greg?
On corn what?
On the corn market. How do you, with the push for more E85, where could that take us price-wise?
Well, any demand is good demand, and any new demand is great demand. The ethanol industry has been, until just really recently, they've really been grinding hard. And it's not so much that it's even domestic. We are exporting a lot into Central Latin America, Caribbean area. When the price of sugar took off here the last few years and all the beet growers saw the benefits of that, one thing that also happened is in Brazil, they stopped creating ethanol out of sugar and concentrated just on the corn side. So they lost some export markets that they had taken away from us probably 8 years ago. So a lot of this ethanol demand isn't necessarily it's domestic. It is strictly the excess is going away because of the exports. Now, if you can add additional demand, the chatter this week was President Trump made a comment in Iowa that if Congress will give him a bill that has E15 in it, he'll sign it. He didn't necessarily, he said, is he going to help push from behind the scenes? But he said, if you give it to me, I will sign off on it. Well, that's just new demand. And, does that allow these ethanol plants to keep grinding at maximum capacity? Because you've got to fill your domestic. You get rid of the excess by export, but, if we can have both. So, to me, any demand is good. You'll see a little shuffling around with more ethanol production. You'll have the DDG equation. That's just more DDGs working their way in the feed ration. And so corn itself, it has a little bit of a battle, but at least it's a value-added product that you're selling. And so just more demand is always good.
Well, I got a couple more listener questions for you, Greg. Here's another one. Every farmer is told to set targets so they can pull the trigger to sell. What happens if the targets never appear? How do you get a premium on that? Or how do you even cover to get to break even? Should you just go ahead and sell all the grain to empty out the bins and have a bit of a reset? This is coming from a young farmer who says he's fairly leveraged and he's just curious, what if I never get to those targets?
Well, the market is not here to promise you profitability. Usually at some point in time, and it might even be before you've planted the crop, there's usually a chance to find some kind of a profitable level. The mentality usually is, well, we got to grow ourselves in the profitability. If I get a big yield, things work. I'm a firm believer that if there's a target, you should have an order in and have it working. That way, if it hits, it gets done. You need to also be realistic about your target. You can have a target, but if the fundamentals say there's no way she's going to get there, how much do you want to sell there? Do you maybe want to have some more realistic targets? So that'd be the first question: is your target realistic? As far as profitability goes, this has always been my mentality, and I've had people, especially lately, argue with me on this. But I guess my thought has always been, until you plant that crop, you can always do something different. You can change your rotation. You can go rent your acres out and be a landlord instead of a farmer. So, the market, before you plant it, the market has to respect your break even and still entice you to go and get that crop planted. And that's why maybe your best chance of profitability is even before it is planted. And that's why we always kind of look, about a year, we'll look for over a year window before we even harvest the crop as an opportunity to market. We have orders in working for this year's crop, and we've been able to get some sales on for guys that have some lower break evens, lower rents. But what we want to look at is I don't want to sell before I plan it for a loss. Why would you do that? It's like playing poker, sitting down, and before they deal the cards out, just say, well, I'll push all my money to the middle. I'm done. I don't want to sell for a loss. But, and the people don't like to hear this, but the moment you put that seed in the ground, profitability don't matter anymore. The market don't care. You've committed, and they know you have a crop to sell, and you're going to take whatever the market's going to give you, and you just hope you take at a better level than others. But so, I mean, you have to try to defend break even early. But if your mindset is, well, I will not sell at a loss, eventually a small loss is better than a big loss. But would I sell new crop corn at a loss today? Absolutely not. Why would I make my first loser? But if I have old crop in the bin, I might have to ask myself, I want to sell where there's profitability, but maybe a small loss is better than a big loss. And that's just a personal decision you're going to have to make.
Now, next question from a listener. Will the new European Union and South America trade deal impact us very much in the U.S., or is the EU just a small player in the whole global scheme?
No, not really. I mean, they are a large player. I mean, I just look at last year, we sold a lot of corn to Spain, a lot. And so that was, when you look at last year's export sales, they were really, we didn't do a lot with China, but man, we did corn sales to Spain. So they're a player. With the new administration, and he wants to use tariffs as part of his trade policy and part of as his foreign policy. Everything's up thrown up in the air. I mean, there's new trading partners finding each other. There's people that are maybe not wanting to deal with us as much and find a different home on things. So really, it's all up in the air today. Will it matter? It might depend on the commodity or the product. But when it's all said and done, people still need to eat. They still got to source their food from. Most countries need to buy their own food. We're lucky in that we are a land of surplus. That's why we export what we do. You get rid of what we don't need. There's still a lot of countries, in the best case scenario, they cannot produce enough. So, trading partners will change and come and go. But I think most people, when it's all said and done, they want a good product for a good value. And as long as we can stay competitive, that we'll always have trading partners.
Well, Greg, I've got more questions coming in. We may have to hold a couple of these till next week, if that's all right with you. And one of them was, will China favor Brazilian soybeans for Q1 and 2 based on what we're seeing right now in the market? And do we sense a corn rally coming, and will it hold up? So is that a cliffhanger for next week, or do you have any comments you want to make on it?
I'll hit the China one real quick. We can do the other one for the cliffhanger for next week. When it comes to China, since the first Trump administration, they have deemed us as unreliable trade partners because of the first trade war. And so we will become the supplier of last resort for China. They will go to Brazil and Argentina first and buy everything they can get there, and we will be the supplier of last resort. Now, they've agreed to buy 25 million tons this coming year. Do I think they're going to do that? No. I mean, I knew they would buy the 12 million. The math said they needed it. It made sense. They bought the 12 million. Will they buy the 25? Probably not. It's probably going to be between 15 and 20 million tons, and it's strictly going to depend on what is the South American crop size. If South America were to have a poor crop, then yes, we could probably sell 25 million. But it's strictly a math equation. China demand minus Brazil and Argentine supply equals what they will buy from us year in. And it's going to be different every year. I'm a firm believer China's they peaked as far as consumption, and they're only going to need less because of demographics as we go forward. Brazil, as they add land, as yields get better, will only add more production, and there will be a day, 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road, China won't need us. So that's the thing on China. We're there to give them what they can't get elsewhere, and that's just the way it is, in my opinion.
I think that's a very fair statement. This has been Greg Hanson for Market Uncovered. We do that every Friday with Greg. He is with Hanson Agri Commodities, and excited to talk to him again next week because we've still got more questions rolling in. We did get our qualifier, so we did have John Swift of Fargo call us, and we did get him registered for the Vegas vacation. Don't go anywhere. After the news, we're going to be joined by North Dakota Ag Commissioner Doug Goehring. We're going to talk about upcoming United States birthday of 250 years, but some history as well. We'll be right back. Here we are in 2026, and North Dakota, along with the rest of the United States, is stepping up for the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. So, what does that entail? It just means that right here every month we're going to visit with our Ag Commissioner, Doug Goehring. We're going to explore some of the history of agriculture in the state and how we have built ourselves up. Maybe in 250 years, but definitely in the few since we've had statehood. So, Commissioner Goehring, it's great to visit with you today. Want to talk about Centennial Farms in the state of North Dakota?
Yeah, good to be here. Thank you.
So, what is the Centennial Farm? That's a distinction that not everybody has, and how do we get them?
Well, so back in the 80s, and I think this was taking place primarily to align with the 100 years of statehood, there were some questions about, do we have some 100-year-old farms? And at the time, it was decided to start a program and start collecting data information from families. And really, I think since then, the program's developed. In fact, since then, to date, we have about 1,032 centennial farms. That's 100 years or more in the state of North Dakota.
And Commissioner, what are the eligibility requirements to have a centennial farm?
So we actually ask families to, and it has to be, to qualify for a centennial farm, it has to be in the family for at least 100 years. And we need documentation. Generally, if you can get deeds, transfers, if you can show some family history, legals. There's a lot of things that are probably at the county courthouse. Anything that you can provide. Photos are great, but we do tell you if you submit those with the application, they're going to be non-returnable because we're generally going to keep them with that application. We do have a kiosk, and there's information that we have available about Centennial Farms, and people get a chance to peruse it and see some of our history.
So, does that designation go to the homestead of the farm where the actual farmstead is? Does it follow if the farmstead's gone but you retain the land? What's the designation follow? I guess is where I want to ask that.
Yeah, so generally speaking, there is a farmstead of sorts that's attached to land, someplace that was homesteaded and people lived. Now, that's not to say that, and this is rare if you drive across the state of North Dakota, but if you have, you generally have something left of the old homestead. There might be a few buildings there. There still might be a shelter built. It definitely has to be retained ownership within the family line. And we ask for that type of documentation. We understand maybe there's different circumstances why there may not be a house there anymore, but it's amazing almost everything we get does show that there's a house, we get photos, family history, all that to identify that yes, this has been established, in such a year, and it's maintained that history, that family tie, all the way back, and that would generally make it eligible. We do also work with the State Historical Society and the State Archivist to make sure that this information is validated, and then we provide a certificate and a letter of congratulations.
Tell you what, this is poor planning on my part because if my mic cord was long enough, I would go get the aerial photo off my wall of my family farm. We earned our Centennial Farm designation in 2013.
Oh, yeah.
I'm in the ranks. When you look at the amount of Centennial Farms that are out there, how many generations have we got covered on average? Because some farms are new, maybe they've got to wait a few more years, but some of these longer term farms, how long have they been here?
Yeah. So on the average, you'll probably see about fifth generation will be a centennial farm. Um, we do have a sixth and seventh generation centennial farms, but they're a little bit more than 100 years old. So there's some history out there in North Dakota. And I can talk a little bit about that too, if you would like.
I was just going to ask, Commissioner, what is the oldest family farm story that you've seen here in North Dakota?
Well, I'll give you two of them. There was one established, let's see, and I had to make some notes because, boy, there's a lot of history with this. But so near, I think it's near Crystal, North Dakota, you have the old Tool Farm. That's a sixth generation farm. And let's see, I thought I had written down here what year. I wanted to say it was in the early, well, I know I have them here. That's what happens when you're making so many notes. Pretty soon you got to read your scribbling. I will tell you the oldest one, though. The oldest one was established in 1872.
Whoa.
That was actually established before we were even a state. That is near Mayville, and it's the Evanson's farm. They actually immigrated out of, I believe, I wrote that down here. I think that was out of Norway. They actually dug a hole in the side of a hill and lived there for 2 years. And then eventually they chopped down an old oak tree that was near the on the property there and built a log cabin. That farm is over 153 years old. And the great granddaughter actually lives in the house where there's still some of that oak wood. So, there's a great story of agriculture, community, history, I think perseverance. It's amazing. And you listen to some of these stories about the pioneers that came to North Dakota and the upper Midwest, and you think about what they endured, and in many cases isolated from others, with a commitment to homestead that land, and especially if they were working through the federal government, they had to live on that 160 acres for a period of time before it was deeded to them, permanently. So anybody that could stick it out for that period of time and not go stir crazy, and I actually think a few did. Great story. What a great story.
Yes. And I think about these farms, and if your house upgrade is going from a soddy, sort of stuck in the side of a hill, to a wood frame farm house, I don't care what anybody says. We're living pretty large these days. I don't know a lot of people living in a hole dug in the side of a hill with their wagon to cover it. That takes a lot.
Well, you're right. And I have to remind people from time to time that we're so blessed and fortunate here in North Dakota and in the United States. I do trade missions in other countries, and they're not far from living like we did 150 years ago. They don't have much for resources. They barely have a roof over their head in some cases. They got rusty galvanized tin that is their roof and their sidewalls, and that's how they fend and live out each day. So we are blessed. We are fortunate.
Commissioner Goehring, thank you so much for taking the time today to talk a little bit about history. That's just the Centennial Farms. As our conversations roll on over the next few months, we're going to talk about Bonanza Farms, technology going from horses to GPS, which frankly, the Bonanza Farms were a big part of bringing that information and that technology forward with mechanization, how we have changed as a industry through the turning points of wars, droughts, and so much more. So I'm a big history fan. I'm looking forward to doing this every month. And thanks again for taking the time to be a part of this and help celebrate the nation's 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence.
All right. All right. Well, I think he froze. So we're gonna go to commercial break. When we come back, we've had an update on our weather. I'll give you that update and what it means for our weekend forecast coming up right after the break. And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. And we've got an update on the weather as the National Weather Service has now issued a winter weather advisory across the entire state. So that does include the Valley and event that will be issued into Minnesota as well. So we are looking at, and again, this isn't a huge system, but it is going to be enough where it is going to cause a little bit of slippery travel as we head into the latter part of the day on Saturday. This starts Saturday noon and goes through Saturday night into early Sunday. Now, the snow is going to spread in from the west. Now, if you're having any travel plans going out into the central, north central, or western part of the state, they're going to start as snow and then transition into freezing rain. So that's going to be a headache out in the central part of the state, all the way from, let's say, Minot, Devil's Lake Basin down through Bismarck. Those are the kind of the areas that are maybe as far east as Jamestown, where they are going to mix in some freezing rain with this precip on Saturday. I think for our area, by the time this gets here, it's going to be all in the form of snow. I'm not worried about any freezing precip. No freezing rain here in the valley or into Lakes Country, but we are expecting about 1 to 3 inches of snow. And we're going to start to see some wind on the backside of this system Sunday morning into Sunday afternoon, which is going to produce blowing snow. We know how that goes. We've seen about 2 or 3 of those events already this year. I don't see the wind being as strong on the backside of this clipper system as the last 2 have been. So we'll see blowing snow, but I don't think it will be to the degree where we had blizzard warnings issued on the last couple of them. So if you have any travel plans on Saturday, keep up to date on the forecast. I'm not expecting much changes out of this. Again, 1 to 3 inches. 3 is going to be tops. I'm not seeing much more than that. But again, you add, 30, 35 mile an hour winds with that, and you're going to get that blowing snow issue. So, and again, winter weather advisory goes into effect on Saturday through Saturday night into Sunday morning. And this basically covers the entire state. As you go into the central and western part of the state, and even north central, northwestern part of the state, that's where you're going to mix in some freezing rain with this, even complicating the issues further. So just a heads up if you're doing any traveling throughout the state on Saturday into early Sunday.
Excellent. All right. Just a couple of folks were curious about some clarifications after our discussion with Commissioner Goehring in talking about the Centennial Farms. First of all, ND 250 is North Dakota's effort to connect our state history to the broader American story. That's before statehood, at statehood, and beyond. It's really going to highlight North Dakotans from every walk of life and how we have progressed as a state. The focus that we do here on Weather and Ag in Focus will certainly have to do with agriculture. Before North Dakota was a state, ag was really already helping to shape what was going on in the industry around us. Really, the settlement patterns, when you think about the Homestead Act, that was a big part of our state's settlement and our economy, what brought people here. We truly have been on the growth chain of supply and feeding the nation. We have advanced our soil conservation, our technology and mechanization at a higher rate than most of the rest of the U.S. For those of you who are curious if your family farm could qualify as a centennial farm, again, you need to have continuous family ownership for at least 100 years. This can be with folks who are, of course, you may have some dead people in the family tree, but they helped own it and you're all related. And for applications, you can go find those online. You can find it at North Dakota Centennial Farm Program. You can also find it through the State Archivist and the State Historical Society. And you're going to need to fill out the application. There'll be a requirement of documentation, photos, etc. Some of the things that you may need to find: deeds, the homestead patent information, transfer records, maybe wills or estate documents, family histories, photos, anything to support the story. And does the farm have to look like it did 100 years ago? No, because things change and evolve. Your family farmhouse is probably not dug into the side of a hill living in a soddy until you got a wooden home from an oak tree. So just following a little bit of the history that we got from Commissioner Goehring earlier today. Also, there is a 7th generation ranch. It is Brems over at Taylor, North Dakota. That is a multi-generational operation. They've got bred Herefords and F1 Black Baldy cattle, and they started out with Norwegian immigration into Stark County in the 1880s.
All right. Well, we want to thank everybody for joining us this afternoon on Weather and Ag in Focus. Again, if you're going to be out traveling Saturday across the state into Saturday night, please be careful. Winter weather advisory covers the entire state for Saturday. So that'll do it for Bridgette and myself. Want to thank everybody again. Jay Thomas Show. It's coming up next.